I'm going to show you how I made this custom record storage cabinet along with a stone bench top to use for my record player. I started with a visit to a marble and stone factory to pick out a piece of stone. I wanted something very dynamic with a lot of contrast in colour in the veins and something very unique. I found this piece of quartz hiding amongst a sea of safer stone pieces. It was the remaining section from a previous project the factory had done, cut from a large slab imported from South America. I bought the whole piece and then had it marked out into 4 sections, which I'm using for several different projects. The basis of it was trying to come up with a 2x2 design, but then have it far more custom based on the dimensions that I had to work between my speaker and the wall. I wanted to fit the maximum amount of records that I could be stored, and also to have half round dowels as the featured design point on the front. The design of the 2x2 was to make it the strongest that the unit could be to support the weight of the records and also the quartz stone top. To simplify the construction, I made the project from timber panels, which gave me the depth I needed and a quick construction method. I cut all lengths with a circular saw and made 2 rectangular boxes with a centre support piece. I'm going to be gluing them together so I can screw all the vertical pieces, as that will then be hidden. I also glued and clamped all the pieces together, and as you can see, the blue painter's tape, I marked out where all the pieces go and where all the front and backs and the directions are. It helped make assembly quicker and to keep track of all the best faces and which edges will be seen from the front. Next up is to make the kicker. I'm matching the kicker set back to the joinery unit which is next for the TV. I assembled this just with pocket screws and then screw fixed it to the base piece above it. I installed some backstop pieces for the records that will sit up against it, and they're set back from the rear of the cabinet slightly, as the depth is based on the record player clearance needed, which is deeper than just a record. I'm keeping the back of the unit completely open to allow for airflow, plus also access, if I ever needed to a power point, which is just below it. To join the 2 cabinet boxes, I glued the top side of the bottom cabinet and then clamped it all up together. I've also pre-drilled some pocket screws which will be on the sides and will pull the 2 halves together very, very tightly. This is the start of the half round dowels. I made a quick jig for my miter saw and I needed to cut over 130 individual dowels. I'd also cut the 2 doors by this stage ready to start the dowels on all the parts. I started gluing dowels to the sides first, and the process was to glue each dowel piece, place it on the door, then pin nail in 4 places, keeping the dowels all tight up against each other. This resulted in a nice, perfect, consistent finish. I'm also going to put some filler into the pin nail holes to have a nice seamless look by the time it's finished. Next I moved to fixing the dowels to the front doors. I had some full overlay cabinet door hinges that I got, and I drilled out the holes to accommodate the hinge into the door. Attaching the dowels is slow, but you do get quicker as you go, and it's quite just methodical to work to get a nice perfect finish with no gaps. When I started on the doors, I left them oversized in the width. I fixed the first full dowel from the middle of where the doors are, and then worked towards the outside of the cabinet so that there was a nice full dowel in the middle section, and it's quite seamless when you see it from the very front. When I got to the outside, I then cut with a circular saw the doors to their final width and then sanded the partial dowel on the edges to a neat finish. From a distance, the doors have a seamless look and came up looking really well. Next, I installed the hinges and then did some final adjustments to get the alignment of the doors closing just nice and perfect. This also included some sanding of the edge so that the doors didn't have any friction in the middle, and just to get a nice sort of 2mm gap between them. In order to finish, I used an oil-based stain and varnish, and I had it tinted up to a colour called cocoa black. This needed 3 different coats and was actually one of the more difficult parts of the whole project in order to get a nice, smooth, consistent finish across all faces, whether they're horizontal or vertical. The 3 coats needed a light sand in between them, and the final coat I did inside to avoid any other dust and particles settling into the finish. I put the cabinet hinge closers so that there's a push to open function and there's no handles that are needed on the front of the doors either. When ready to install the stone benchtop, I used some dabs of neutral cure silicone and then positioned the stone in place before leaving it for a day or so before it dried and it was enough to have set. I have a small overhang on both sides and also on the front, so the doors, when closed, sit just behind the front edge of the stone top. And coming up are some finished shots of the cabinet with my Riga record player installed, ready for playing. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Here you can see the back area where there's some room for cables to get past as well. And then when it's finally ready to load the records in, I had that filled pretty quickly. And the weight of the unit and the stability of the stone benchtop were really the main things that I was aiming for in this project. I wanted to have the ability to reduce any vibration. I've got a hard floor underneath the timber flooring, so I don't have a problem with any vibration typically, but it's just trying to eliminate any possibility with such a heavy unit and sitting on a stone benchtop. Thanks everyone for watching. Please consider subscribing for my future project videos coming. See you later.